this first guy that I met, local guy, he gets a $200,000 check while I'm sitting there. Flips it around, he says, "Hey, you'll get there one day." My mind was just blown. I was actually working at Papa John, delivering pizza. And I literally remember getting that first call while I was straight up mopping the floor. Dropped the mop, take the call, ended up closing. I made $7,000.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of 10 Questions with Millionaires. I'm sitting here with Matt Teifke, owner of Teifke Real Estate. Him and his partners have a goal to make the most entrepreneurial real estate brokerage on the planet. Thanks for coming on, Matt.
Yeah, man, thanks for the intro. I'm really excited to be here. I love seeing what you guys do. And that's right. That is the goal. We're very driven and motivated by that, and couldn't be more excited about the future.
I love it. And if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little introduction to yourself, maybe a little bit of your story, where you're from and like what you kind of do on a day-to-day, and what brought us to this moment here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So born in Cleveland, Ohio, right here. Moved to Austin when I was 2.5 years old, and grew up single mom, brother who ended up going to the Marines. My mom really inspired me on showing what's possible with real estate. So I got started at 17 years old. I went to Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Islanders, baby. And that was a great experience. I got my license when I was 17 years old, and I started at a mom and pop brokerage. First one in, last one out, just hustling, man. I got Rookie of the Year. I was a full-time student. I was going to class and could care less about class. And I couldn't wait to get out and do some deals. So that was great. Had a mentor. Graduated, worked for a commercial brokerage in Round Rock until I got accepted to Texas A&M, and I went and got my master's degree in real estate, which was all financial based. Worked at an apartment, got an appraisal license, and I always wanted to learn as much as possible about real estate and then figure out how do I own real estate. Started a company right when I graduated school with my wife. We built up to 700 doors that we were managing, third-party management. We ended up selling that company 2 years ago, and then teamed up with a longtime childhood friend, Alex Kaufman, aka Coffee Black, true brother, and we built an entrepreneurial brokerage.
That's amazing. You got a lot going on, and I heard that you mentioned that you did go to college. I do want to ask, do you think that experience of going to college has been transferable in your skills today as owning a real estate brokerage and going out and finding deals? And in addition to that, do you think that is necessary for success in society?
Necessary, no. It is what you make it, just like anything, right? And so I teach a class now in college, which is really cool.
Wow.
But I told the students yesterday, hey, all of you guys in this room right now have a lot of ways to help each other out. And most people just don't go all in on that, right?
Yeah.
Like you got 10 students there that are all interested in business. What can you 10 people do together for the rest of your life? So many things. But most people maybe just show up to class and leave.
Yeah.
So it is what you make it.
Yeah, that's great. And I do want to take back, you had mentioned earlier in kind of your intro, kind of how you got started in real estate. Maybe take us back there, dive a little bit more in the details of how you kind of got linked up into your first involvement in real estate. And also, what was your first deal, or maybe not even first deal, but the first way that you made money in real estate?
What I didn't realize at the time was almost every brokerage wants new agents, right? Mm-hmm. So I set up my interviews. I had a place called Garandine. I had Keller Williams, and I had Coldwell Bankers. I show up in a suit and tie. I'm interviewing because I want this job, right? It's the other way around, but I didn't know that. The brokers want you, but I'm like hoping that they'll give me the job, right?
Yeah.
So I go, and I'm not kidding. This first guy that I met, local guy, he just passed away a week and a half ago. He gets a $200,000 check while I'm sitting there, and she brings it into him.
Oh my God.
And he flips it around. He says, "Hey, you'll get there one day." My mind was just blown, right?
Oh, that's gotta be so motivating.
Dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You'll get there one day." So he said, "You got the job." And I canceled the other interviews. I just was like, hell yeah, I got the job. Let's go. And that's when I took that opportunity. And I was actually working at Papa John, delivering pizza while I was working at the brokerage because I needed to make money, right? And I literally remember getting that first call while I was straight up mopping the floor.
Wow.
Dropped the mop, take the call, ended up closing. I made $7,000 or $6,000, and it blew my mind because at the time I was getting $600 checks.
I was gonna say that's got to be way more than what you were bringing in
Way
at Papa
more.
John's.
I never seen a check like that, right? Even growing up, maybe full time I'd get like $1,500 or $2,000, right? And so $6,000 one time going to the bank, it blew my mind, and I was hooked.
That was your start, and then now you own a real estate brokerage. How does that process look like once you're an agent, trying to then move up to own a brokerage, that kind of transition? I know there's 2 different licenses. Could you kind of break that down?
Sure.
And how is that more specialized to you and your process in doing that?
So every agent has to have a broker. You can't get in the real estate business as a licensed agent without having a broker. When I first got started, it was 2 years and a certain amount of sales to get your broker's license. So 2 years of experience as a salesperson. Literally right before I got to the 2-year mark, they switched it to 4. I'm like, oh gosh, 2 more years. So now it's 4 years. You have to have a certain amount of transactions. There's a point system to get up to, I believe, 900 points.
Wow.
Then you have to have certain qualifications from real estate classes. And college degree and the master's degree satisfied all those credit hours. And I had the amount of transactions needed, took the test, got licensed. And then you become the one that's responsible, that's on the hook, that trains, that's there to support the agents. And then there's a split structure. We do 90-10. So agent, you close the deal, you keep 90%, we take 10. My first brokerage, I was 50-50.
What is the hardest part about owning a real estate brokerage?
One of the hardest parts is when you're trying to lead the team. You know, I've got challenges just like everybody else, right? And you kind of got to, you know, not worry about that and not let it show. So you've got to be a leader when, you know, deals are falling apart, when, you know, you got lawsuits, when you're getting complaints to Trek, and you got to show up and still lead every day when you might be battling with some stuff, which we are all the time. And so separating the two is not something that you can really do. You got to just live through it and lead and show what's possible and be there to support people.
You are a co-owner. You do have a partner, Alex, that we've met, and we're going to be interviewing him later. What is it like working in that partnership, and what are the qualities that you look for when trying to find a business partner?
1 in 20 partnerships work out, if that. Alex and I grew up together. He doesn't talk about it that often, so I have to do that for him in some sense. But age 20 years old, full-blown heroin addict and in jail. I mean, straight up. Not somebody that I wanted to associate myself or be around, right? Because when you're on heroin and stuff like that, I mean, who knows what you're doing. We started working together after he had gotten sober. Still had my guard up a little bit. I knew him since he was like 6 years old, right? He's my brother's best friend. Always a hustler, always making money, just got on this bad path for a little bit. And what I would do is say, Alex, you know, you want to team up, go knock on these doors. And I give him 10 doors, and he'd go knock 100. And I say, hey, you know, go call these people. He'd go call 10 times the amount of people. So over 2-3 years, we ended up having 4 or 5 properties that we owned together. And then I realized this guy's shaking that. He is stone cold sober, up at 4 a.m., pray, meditate, work out, and extremely driven and sharp, and realizes that he has an opportunity to do something totally different than where he was, which was working at Firehouse Sub, riding his bike to work, making minimum wage, literally living on pennies. He knows how to live on pennies.
Wow.
Straight up. So we teamed up, and man, it has been beautiful. We've divided the roles where he's the operations guy, he counts the money, he makes sure we're profitable, he hires everybody, he fires someone if we have to, and I'm out there living what I believe is my best role, which is networking, building relationships, talking to people, drumming up new ideas. So we operate our business on a thing called traction, and he's the implementer and I'm the visionary in a sense.
What's the best and worst financial decision you've ever made, if you're comfortable sharing that?
Absolutely.
And then also, within that, what was your biggest deal that you've done? I know that's a lot of questions, but
I'll take it. Tell me if I miss one. But
okay.
Biggest deal, $780,000 wholesale fee.
Oh my God.
So we made that at one time between 3 partners. And it's great. It's a lot of money.
And for those of you that don't know wholesaling, could you just explain that just really quickly?
Put a property under contract. The lady hates brokers. Take off the broker hat. We're investors. $2 million. We had a 3% commission going to ourselves. And then we put it under contract. We put up the earnest money and option money, you know, 20 grand. We have control of this piece of paper, which is actual ownership. It's an ownership of the property.
Wow.
We started calling builders, developers, everyone we could think of to see if they were interested in this property. It's 9.5 acres in Round Rock. We're also sitting there like, we want to buy this. We want to own this property. It's a commercial property. Ended up getting an offer at 2.7, and it wasn't real to me that like we were gonna make this money at closing. Like I just didn't believe it. Closed it, made the $700K, made the 3% commission, split it between 3 partners, paid a huge tax on it, right? So it's not nearly as much as it seems, but it was a really big deal. And we just transferred the contract, utilized one skill set and one tool of real estate. That was the biggest deal.
I do want to circle back. Best and worst financial decision.
Yeah. So, and then you also have properties.
Yeah.
I think we have maybe 130 properties. Worst decision, and that is as of today, is cannabis stock.
Wow.
Down multiple million on it.
Do you know, was there like a specific one, or was it just the industry in general?
In general, they're all down.
Okay.
But I have a company called Acreage, and I still believe in it, and I'm really hoping, because that's been one of my struggles, right? Is like that thing going down. I don't talk about it often, but just full disclosure, I mean, it goes down 60K, 100K, like daily.
Daily, wow.
And it's only been down. So that's been very hard to deal with. But I believe in the industry. I believe in that company. They're doing $67 million last quarter in revenue, and the company is valued at $40 million. So it's just we're just early is how I view it. But I'm one of the largest shareholders.
No way.
Yeah, I mean
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So hopefully that works out. But that's been very, very tough. And then best decision was partnering with Alex by far. Finding the right partner to go try to accomplish a very clear goal that we're very driven on.
Tell me the craziest real estate story that you've experienced.
The craziest thing I can think of has to do with my wife being pregnant and going to somebody's house on a property that we manage, and the lady coming out and chasing her with a stick and her dog, and she's running around pregnant. I mean, that's like the craziest one, because that's just bizarre. But the thing about it is every day there's something crazy, and then we just think it's normal. We're like, yeah, that was an interesting day. But when you stop and think about it, you're like, wow, we just met this guy at an RV park, and we walked around the back and sat down and had a beer and negotiated a deal. That was just like, just happened 2 weeks ago.
Just very spontaneous.
Yeah, I'm like that's very unique. That's pretty cool. So it's always something.
Final question that I do want to just wrap up with is, you are fairly young. So what do you see for the next 10 years for yourself, and what keeps you motivated to keep going? I'm
just driven, just like being around my mom, I guess. She was 24/7, so a lot of that wore off on me. But there's no other path. I feel very, very blessed to have a clear vision. Like, we know where we're trying to go, and whether we do that or not, the one thing I'll be proud of is to know that we tried. Just having a clear goal. I'm a big believer that you got to have goals in life. If you don't have any kind of goal, like, you can't be happy. Like, something that you're pushing towards and making progress to. And I'm not always on fire, but for the most part, like, man, I'm very clear on what we're trying to do, and it gets proven every day by agents that are with us that say, thank you, like, this changed my life. And I mean, daily, like, really, really detailed and passionate text. And so that is what keeps us going. That's amazing. Well, that's going to wrap it up for 10 questions. Thank you so much, Matt. If you want to, just real quick, how can people find your stuff? How can they find your guys' profiles, and maybe even send you a DM, get started in real estate? Easy, man. We're the easiest ever. Every platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow us. Matt Teifke at Gmail, teifkerealestate.com. Cell phone number, 512-914-4806. We're easy, man. 2 times. Yeah. 512-914-4806. He taught me that. Always say the phone number 2 times. I love that you said that, man. I always do it, too. Yeah. I always do that, but yeah. Absolutely. Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on 10 Questions. Guys, we're going to catch you in the next one. We got a lot of great videos dropping, and we'll see you guys soon.